Tonight, Michigan Secretary of State and gubernatorial candidate Jocelyn Benson will be at the Peter White Public Library for a book reading of her memoir, The Purposeful Warrior. I got to chat with her yesterday about this book and why she set out to write it. Take a listen. I want to talk about this book, why you set out to tell this story, and why you're releasing it at this time.
Well, thanks for having me. Writing this book was really a labor of love over a number of years. It started right after the 2020 presidential election. It was really my take on what it was like to go through that historic election cycle where we had a secure, high turnout election in the midst of a pandemic and then had to endure several attempts to overturn those fair and accurate results. And so it began by an effort to just tell that story, and then really evolved into a book about the power we all have to define a better world for ourselves, the people we love, and the place that we call home, even in turbulent times.
What do you think this story can offer the people of Michigan, or what do you hope that the people of Michigan take away from reading this book, whether or not they're already in support of your campaign?
Yeah, it's not really a political book as much as it's a call to action for us all to find our voice and our authentic purpose in moments like this. Because first, no one has the power to define who we are as a state, as a community, as a human being. Only we have that power. And even in challenging and uncertain moments, and there will always be uncertain moments, we as individuals always have the power to decide how we will respond and what we are going to do to ensure our hopes, our vision for a better world comes through. And the second real key message of the book is that challenges are inevitable. Uncertain times are a part of life, but we always can see those challenges and challenging times as an opportunity for growth, to build strength, to build resilience, and to get better. And so this book is really rooted in those two principles and ultimately is a how-to guide through stories of my own life or advice and inspiration that I've gleaned from others on what we can all do to be warriors on behalf of ourselves, those we love, and the communities we call home.
So it's a story about overcoming challenges at its core, and I feel like that's something that us Yoopers are no strangers to. And I mean, you've faced threats, you've faced public scrutiny. How did you personally develop the resilience, Yoopers might call it sisu, to continue to push forward?
Well, my mother-in-law grew up in Marquette and is a Yooper, so maybe that's where I get it. But certainly for me, I think through time, you can make choices big and small that are essentially about choosing to be courageous over fear, choosing to build that bravery muscle instead of allowing fear or what we are afraid it might happen to drive what we do. And so to me, whether you're battling a toxic workplace or navigating a loss or becoming a parent, all those components of life can really alter who we are. But we always have the ability to stand in our power, push forward toward our goals, and embrace challenges with grit and with empathy and grace. And that's really what it means to, I think, build an impactful life where your voice is heard and you're amplifying and fighting for a better world for all those around you.
As a literary person myself, I'm always dissecting titles. So I'm super curious to learn more about your choice of The Purposeful Warrior. I feel like those are two super intentional words. What does that mean to you to be a purposeful warrior?
Yeah, they are very intentional words. It really started by, if there was one word that could describe what I want someone to feel after reading this book, it would be warrior. I want them to feel that they can be a warrior for themselves, for their kids, for the people they love, their parents, their communities. But it's not just about being a warrior, being a fighter. That's critical. That passion is necessary. But it's about honing that passion towards a purpose, towards an impact, towards something productive you want to do with that fire. And so the book is filled with stories about, finding purpose in rage or the benefits of speaking out even when it's hard to do that. But it's all honing your warrior ethos, your ability to fight for what you believe in, but in doing so in a pragmatic, practical way that is purpose-driven, targeted towards the impact you want to have, the change that you want to see happen as a result of your engagement in that particular fight.
After the break, it's part 2 of my conversation with our Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson. She touches on how you can be a more purposeful warrior in your community. Stay with us.